Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. Hey guys, welcome back once again. Progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. All right, today on the Forever Better Academy podcast, what we're going to discuss is being open-minded. Are you really open-minded? Right now, what is open-minded all about? If you think about virtually now, I would honestly say almost, if not every single person that you speak with, if you ask them if they believe that they were open-minded, almost certainly everyone would say yes. I've never come across somebody who has said to me, if I've been speaking about this, no, I'm not open-minded. I'm very content. I'm happy with my current belief system and thoughts. And I'm not open-minded. I'm very closed-minded, right? It's funny, right, to think about actually someone saying that to you. The thing, I guess, is everyone to some extent is probably open-minded. Now, when we talk about open-minded, the way I want to talk about it and discuss today is in the sense of being able to consider other viewpoints or opinions or truths and being open to adopting them as potential new truths to you if they are better suited than current truths you tell yourself or belief systems that you hold or ideas, patterns, constructs that you currently live by, right? So as a good example, I guess on a global scale right now, there's still debate. Some people don't believe in climate change and some do. I would say that the benefits of believing in climate change and the outcomes of doing something about it far outweigh the beliefs that climate change isn't real. Even if it wasn't real, it would make sense, in my opinion, for us to all act in the best interests of one another and ensure that our weather is stable on the planet and we can continue to survive, right? So today we're going to dive into that, right? The truly what it means to be open-minded, right? And how being open-minded can benefit you and change your life, right? And as I say, progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything, right? So a good I guess I always thought it's interesting, a good way to demonstrate this, if you want to do this, right? If you want to talk to someone and ask them and truly know if they're open-minded, ask them if they're open-minded, and if they say yes they are, argue the opposite with them. I guarantee they wouldn't listen to you telling them otherwise, which is a perfect example and a sign of being closed-minded, right? If someone, being open to a viewpoint that's alternative to the one you currently hold, right? So, say someone, are you open-minded? Yes, I'm open-minded. I disagree, and here's why. Now, this may cause conflict. I'm not saying go out and start arguments and make people feel uncomfortable, but it's just an interesting way to demonstrate what I'm talking about, right? Now, you don't necessarily have to go and do this, but it's really, I guess, a thought experiment to understand. It's a good line in the sand to qualify whether someone is open-minded or not. Now, all of us in life have a desire to live a good life, be safe, have certain comforts and opportunities for our families and our friends and loved ones, right? So in order to grow in life, you have to go through challenges and hardships and turmoil and all the experiences that you go through on a daily basis that shape and mold who we are. The way that you grow from those experiences, the first part of it is going through the experience, and the second part is being open to what the experience is trying to give you. Right now, it's a classic example of somebody who isn't open-minded and will continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again because they're not open to truly learning from or changing their ways, right? Now, an open-minded perspective or approach to life, listening and taking in alternative viewpoints or considering other ways to do or believe or act in your life is only the beginning, right? You can be open to hearing it, but are you open to implementing it or taking on that advice or doing something with it that's beneficial to you, right? Now, if someone tells you, let's say you don't take good care of yourself, you don't regularly exercise, right? And someone comes to you and has your best interest at heart and says to you, the exercise is important in your life, and if you take a little bit of time each day, you will be better for it. You'll have greater health, you'll feel good, you'll have more energy, you'll look good, you'll your immune system will be stronger, your mind will be sharper, right? There's a lot of benefits, right? So let's imagine we're having this conversation and someone is telling me that say I don't exercise, and they're telling me these benefits, and I'm listening, open-minded, right? I'm listening to what they're telling me. But if I don't have any intention to take that advice and do something with it, how open-minded am I truly? Does it mean I am open-minded purely because I have capacity to consider or listen to someone? How open-minded am I if I am listening to someone tell me something, right? And we've probably all been in this scenario. I know I have. When you are fixed on your thoughts or beliefs or what you consider to be your truth, and when that person's telling you their truth, you're listening and you're thinking, what a load of crap. Like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. You're patronizing them. You're just entertaining it. You're allowing them to tell you with no intention whatsoever of considering their viewpoint or how it may affect your life. Right now, in my opinion, that's not open-minded at all. Right? How many times have you had an argument, right? With this is, if you've got a spouse or a partner or someone you love, and even a sibling, right? And you have an argument with them, and you're arguing, you're hearing what they're saying, but you're not listening to what they're saying, right? You're waiting to respond and get your viewpoint across because you're trying to convince them to be open-minded, and they're doing the same to you, right? It's interesting how common these patterns and behaviors in life are, and how much of a significant shift they can make an impact on your life, just changing little things, right? It doesn't have to be a monumental shift, right? To be truly open-minded requires practice and discipline, like any of the other tools and techniques and principles I share with you guys on a weekly basis. If you can take just a little shift in your mindset and take on board what this person is truly saying and consider it. Remove all your beliefs, your previously held beliefs and convictions, and be completely open to the consideration of what that person is telling you. Imagine how much different arguments and disagreements would be in the world if everyone had this power. And the thing is, everyone does have this power. It's just that we don't often use it as well as we should. Right? You imagine how much stronger the bond of a relationship would be if the person that you were in love with was having a disagreement with you, and you focused entirely on their viewpoint and truly trying to understand from where they're coming from. Right? When I was a little kid, they always used to talk about in school, and just the generation, my parents, everyone used to say, put yourself in that person's shoes. Right? And this is what it's about. It means, consider it from their point of view. Right? There's a great diagram. If any of you have ever read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, there's one diagram in the book, right, where there's two people having an argument, one on the left and one on the right, and on the ground in front of them is the digit. It's from the person on the left, they're seeing number 6, right, and the person on the right is seeing a number 9. Right? And the beautiful thing that this diagram is so simple, but what it illustrates is that you can have a different truth based on your perspective. Neither one of those people is wrong. The person on the left is seeing a 6, and the person on the right is seeing a 9. And because they are so sure of what they're seeing, and they believe with no room for consideration of any other belief, that they're right. But the beautiful thing is both of them are right, but no one's considering one another. And how much difference could we get and progress as a society if we could just learn to consider one another and take on board, even if someone sees something differently from what we do, it doesn't mean that those views that they have are wrong. Right? Powerful, right? You really think about how simple that diagram is and the importance of grasping that, right? Now, as I say, we all have this desire to be open-minded and to grow, right? And to be, to live a life that is comfortable and full of wonder and fulfillment and opportunity and full of love, right? Now, for this to happen and learn from these mistakes and experiences, as I said, we go through every day, we have to take an open-minded approach in order to change the elements of ourselves. And our identities are tied to the stories we tell ourselves based upon the experiences we go through. Our entire sense of identity is really just constructed by the stories we tell ourselves. Right? This is why it's so powerful that you can be whoever you want to be. You can become any kind of person you wish to be in this life, because we are open-ended and freely able to create our futures and destinies based upon the belief systems we hold, the stories we tell ourselves, and the actions we take that align with those stories. Right? So when you're going through this, all of us are navigating this, every single person, right? This is why we're more similar than we are different, right? Now, if you think about everyone, feels this need to keep up appearances, right? Like we all have to, show that, we're stable and we know what's going on and we've got it together and we're okay. And even though, at times we all aren't okay, right? Like it's crazy. We all know that we have these struggles and problems, but we don't show each other that support and kindness and consideration that someone else might be going through the same struggles that we go through, right? We all go through it, and we know how it feels to go through it, yet we don't often remember to support others in a way that we would like to be supported when we're going through those things, right? So the big challenge is when you're going through, navigating your existence and trying to take on board all these experiences and define what they mean and who you're becoming and where you are in your life and where you would like to be, right? the outside world is trying to give you this sense of I guess structure of where you should be or how you should operate, right? There's I guess almost like an unwritten laws and rules, right, in society where we all kind of know how to navigate and operate together as a society, and you learn from when you're a little kid and you do something, and there's a consequence to your action. So we all start to understand, right, what is the way we sort of maneuver through a daily existence. Now, internally, the reason why a lot of us aren't open-minded or aren't truly open-minded, right, to the extent that can serve us well, is, as I say, our identity is very fragile, right? It's not a pre-programmed thing. We don't come into the world and we are instantly who we are, right? At 5 years old, I wasn't the way that I am right now because I hadn't experienced the things that have led me to this point. You have, chemical makeup and genetic advantages and disadvantages that prepare you or shape you for a potential certain path, but you have capacity to decide the path, right? So the identity that we hold and call self is so fragile because it's only made up of ideas. It's an illusion. It's a concept, right? It's just a construct that we determine for ourselves. Now you think about. I was reading the other day. It's interesting that every person that interacts and experiences you and comes into contact with you sees you in a completely different way. The you that you are, yeah, right. You with me? Is vastly different from the you that your children experience or your partner experiences or your colleagues experience, right? I guarantee the person I believe I am, my wife doesn't see me the same way I see myself. She understands me as as she can from her viewpoint, right? Now, if I'm looking at the 6, right, remember the diagram, and she's looking at the 9, neither one of us is wrong. It's all based upon the experiences and how we have learnt to comprehend them, right? So if your identity is purely based on concepts and ideas and telling yourself who you are and what it means and why you do what you do, there's an element of closed-mindedness around that because of that fragility of identity. If we don't protect that, then we're not who we say we are. And if we're not who we say we are, then who are we? Right? It's a scary feeling to feel like you're like a blank slate, right? Like this is what happened to me when I had committed complete belief and direction in my life to become a famous rapper, right? That's all I was thinking about, all I could do. I determined the path and I was aligning the actions I was taking with the intent to reach my goal, right? When I ultimately decided that I needed change in my life, it was a daunting thing. I had to shatter the belief systems I had about who I was and where I was headed. And there was, I think, a good 6-month period where I was processing this and understanding and truly trying to know who I was going to become. That's the massive milestone, the first time in my life where my identity was erased. If I wasn't this person that I had put so much work and time and effort into being, who am I now? Right? And it's scary, it's overwhelming, it's daunting, right? Now, I had to embrace being open-minded and learn to I guess, learn to cope with that fear of not knowing where I was going, but also embrace the wonder in it because it's freeing. Like a clean slate. Imagine you're scared because there's this threshold that you have to cross where you're not the person you thought you were, and you don't know when you take that next step the world that you're stepping into. Who am I now? If I'm not the dreadlock rapper with tattoos and the breakdancer and graffiti artist, who am I? When you get to decide and you embrace the unknown, that's when magic happens, and you truly start to find the freedom and the blessing in the unknown. Right? That's where the open-minded comes from. And I think that's what's scary about it. If you're open-minded, you're saying you're okay with shifting your beliefs and who you are, and it may be better and it could be worse. Now, naturally, you're not going to take on belief systems and patterns or concepts typically that are worse than the ones you currently hold, right? But in the sense of the example, you don't know what's to come. But the beauty is when you have that opening, that's an opportunity. When you see that, remember, I've said in the past, problems are opportunities, right? And if you frame your mind and see the gift that you've been given to improve yourself or enhance yourself or take on a newer story or concept or identity about yourself that is better serving and more fulfilling, only good can come from that, right? So it's okay to not be tied to your identity, because you can be whoever you want to be, right? You don't have to be so set in stone. Ever heard the saying, think outside the box? You don't have to say, I'm pigeonholed, I'm here, this is who I am, I've clearly defined it, and I'm never going to change for the rest of my life. You might feel a little bit safe in doing that. You might feel protected, and there's a familiarity with your identity, so you feel secure in your identity. But it how do I explain it? I guess the security doesn't come from identity. Security comes from the freedom and ability to adapt as needed. Right? That's true security, true freedom. You can maneuver and create and shift as you need to situations, and that truly opens the path and the doorways for you. Right? So a great saying that I've probably mentioned a few times on the podcast is, convictions are the enemy of truth. Right? And truly, this is the only obstacle you're going to face is your own convictions, because you can't change your mind unless you decide to. People may argue the case with you. People, and you've seen it probably a million times. You look at any comment board on the internet where someone will have a viewpoint and then another person will clearly define eloquently why that viewpoint is incorrect or might not be in someone's best interest. And that person will still hold that belief system because it shatters their identity, right? Remember I talk about that fragility of your own identity. Convictions are the enemy of truth. If you believe in something so much and you hold on to an idea, which is all it is, right? It's an idea. If you hold on to an idea for dear life, like you grasp onto it at all costs, it will cost you everything, right? Imagine holding an idea, even if you knew deep down in your heart that it wasn't right, it wasn't true, but you were so afraid to let go because it's almost like a life vest or a safety jacket or something that, that protects you, right? Convictions are the enemy of truth. Right? Really think about that. Are you open-minded enough to cast off your belief system for a better belief system? What harm comes from being open-minded? Truly. What's wrong with reimagining or reinventing yourself or refining your identity? That's a good way to put it, right? It's small bite-sized chunks. You don't need to become, flip a 180 and be the total opposite person of who you were yesterday. But there's enhancements and refinements you can make in your beliefs and your identity that better serve you and everyone else around you, right? So, and I think this is a really a lovely way to consider it, right? If you don't let yourself go, how will you become who you're meant to become? Right? How can you be, the person that you are supposed to become and grow into if you don't let yourself go? And I say, as in yourself, your identity, the person you've told yourself you are. I know that I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys and be in a more fulfilling, more content place in my life, more secure place in my life, had I held on to the notion that because I'd put so much time and effort into building my identity that I had to hold on to it, right? If you've ever heard of a sunk cost fallacy, right? People will cling to something that they've spent a lot of time and effort and money on because they feel that, we're all subject to these biases where we put so much effort into one thing. If we give up on it, all that effort is wasted. All those resources are wasted and lost. We did that for nothing. And that's not the case at all, right? It's easy to look back and find the the connections, the dot points between what's occurred in your life that's led you. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? Now, for me, when I let go of my old identity, it was freeing, and it gives you room in your mind to consider other things. It's almost like if you ever gone through your devices and you find a whole heap of old files that no longer serve you well, and you trash them all, you delete them, and then you are excited because your device is running better, it's more efficient, the battery lasts longer, and you can put new things and programs and applications on your device that serve you better now, right? Same thing. Same analogy. Like, it's just us refining ourselves, being open-minded, it's like the equivalent of someone who's still hanging on to MySpace, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if even some younger kids watching this would know what MySpace is, but you get where I'm coming from, right? So the beautiful thing too is, like, because this is all self-directed, you have complete control and freedom to make these decisions for yourself, and no one can take that away from you, right? No matter what someone says or does to you, you have the freedom and choice to decide how you respond and react. And if you're open-minded, no one can close your mind on your behalf, right? So the only conflict you'll find, or the only obstacle you'll find, is the one you seek. If you go looking for problems, what will you find? Right? If you go looking for solutions, what are you going to find? That simple, right? Don't get in your own way. Try this next time you're in a situation where you are having an argument or a debate, or somebody tells you something that's counter to what you currently believe, try and catch yourself, recognize the moment, and forget about all that you know about the subject or the situation. Don't consider responding. Listen, right? We only learn when we listen. If we aren't open-minded, we can't take in new truths. And if we can't take in new truths, we can't grow and take in stimulus and examples and concepts and ideas. The more of these that we have that we can work with, we can refine and decide what we want to build from, right? It is, I think I've told a story in the past where, as an ex-chef, if even the best chef in the world has 4 ingredients, there's only so much you can do with 4 ingredients, right? Only so many different combinations you can put them together, different flavors and textures you might be able to create. But when you have 30 ingredients, you don't need to use them all. You wouldn't consider using everything in one recipe, but you have the ability to pick and choose and decide what ingredients combined in what manner create the best outcome. Right? Are you with me? So when you learn to truly be open-minded and take in all this new information and ingredients, right? Ultimately, you have a greater knowledge of self, right? The more that you have to work with, the more refined you can become, right? Enhance yourself, refine yourself, open your mind and listen to other people and consider why they might be correct, even if you don't believe so. A great example of this, if you've ever, read up and about the history and Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls through the 90s, right? Arguably the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan. And you could say quite possibly no one knows the game better than he does. But Michael would still listen to Phil Jackson, the coach, when he was told to do something or try a play. Michael was open-minded, even if he thought he had a better idea or a better approach to the situation. He would still listen and hear out the coach and take on board what Phil Jackson was saying. And, for those of you that were privileged enough to live through the 90s and, you see what happens. 6 championships in 8 years. Pays to be open-minded, right? And ultimately, at the end of all this, once you've mastered this skill like anything else, you can be whatever you desire. It's like the key to the door, right? When you're open-minded, you've not just stepped up to the door that creates opportunity. You hold the key in your hand. You can walk through that door because you are prepared to walk through the door. And then when you walk through the door, you can find some wonderful things on the other side. All right, that's all I've got for you guys today. I appreciate, as always, you guys listening in, watching on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel, share the content, and let's grow together. All right, as always, guys, who could you become? Right? Leave some comments. Let me know. Are you open-minded? Do you believe you're open-minded? After listening to today's episode, do you feel more capable or more prepared to try and be better open-minded next time you're having a discussion or a debate or an argument with someone? All right. Thank you so much, guys. This is Wade Vincent, and I look forward to talking to you again next Friday. See you later, guys.